Imagine you wake up one morning and realize that the spoken truth, flattering, brutal, or in between, is not always the full picture. What if what you are hearing is half true, or even a lie, but told with good intentions? Are such lies morally defensible? This quandary has driven philosophers, ethicists, and psychologists for centuries. As we peel back the layers of deception from white lies to lies of necessity, you'll discover that our urge to avoid falsehood isn't always straightforward. Sometimes truth can hurt, and a small deception might just save the day. But where exactly do we draw the line? The golden rule of honesty. Immanuel Kant was basically the strict parent of ethics. Lying is always wrong because it breaks trust and turns people into tools rather than respected individuals. Plus, if everyone lied, society would be one giant episode of Who's Telling the Truth? Forever. Meanwhile, the utilitarians like Kantian King are more like the chill aunt or uncle, saying, well, sometimes a little lie isn't so bad if it saves the day and makes everyone happier. So while Kant's rulebook says never lie, no exceptions, the utilitarians bring a calculator, weigh the pros and cons, and aim for the greater good, ideally without turning into full-time fibbers. When good lies happen, we have all done it, told those tiny, well-meaning fibs to spare someone's feelings or smooth over awkward moments. Psychologists call these pro-social lies or white lies, the kind where you say, of course your haircut looks great, even if it's a little creative. Research shows these gentle untruths can actually strengthen relationships by helping others save face, especially when emotions are fragile or there are bigger issues at hand. From the moment parents reassure kids with everything's fine during not-so-fine moments, we start learning how to lie kindly. By adulthood, most of us have mastered the art of sprinkling harmless fibs like your presentation was amazing to keep the peace. So the real question is, when it's done out of kindness, is it really lying or just emotional first aid? When lies become control, not all well-meaning lies stay cute and harmless. Welcome to the paternalistic trap, where lies are told for your own good, but end up hijacking your autonomy. Think of doctors sugarcoating a tough diagnosis to keep hope alive, or helicopter parents feeding kids half-truths to protect their innocence or sanity. Sure, these fibs might cushion the emotional blow in the short term, but research warns that once the truth leaks out, as it usually does, people often feel more betrayed than comforted, wondering if the so-called protection was worth the loss of trust. Suddenly, the damage from the lie can outweigh any good intentions, leaving us to ponder, is sparing someone's feelings really worth stealing their right to know and choose? When lying saves lives, consider a scenario straight from philosophical thought experiments. A murderer comes to your door, asking if your friend is hiding inside. Telling the truth could cost a life. Kant would say it's still wrong, but many modern thinkers disagree. This is the doctrine of mental reservation used since the Renaissance to justify partial truths when full honesty risks grave harm. It allows statements that are technically true with a hidden qualification. Example: he's not here right now. True if you mentally qualify here for you. Though evasive, it can be life-saving. These lies of necessity appeal to the moral imperative to protect life even when it conflicts with perfect honesty. What happens when lying is the norm? When lying becomes business as usual, things get complicated fast. Research shows that antisocial lies, those told for selfish gain, act like termites in a community, quietly eating away at trust and leaving social networks fractured. On the flip side, harmless white lies can actually grease the wheels of daily interaction, helping conversations flow and relationships stay intact. Culture adds another twist. In collectivist societies, certain lies might be totally acceptable if they keep the peace and preserve group harmony, while individualistic cultures tend to preach personal autonomy and blunt honesty, even if it gets a little uncomfortable. In short, whether lying is a social glue or a wrecking ball depends a lot on why, how, and where it's done. The mental cost. Lying does not just mess with ethics, it messes with our brains too. Unlike the truth, which pretty much tells itself, lying takes serious mental gymnastics. You have got to invent details, stay consistent, and monitor reactions, making it slower and more exhausting. Even skilled liars can give themselves away with little nonverbal loops, moments, nervous tics, awkward pauses, or flashes of guilt. And when lies eventually come to light, as they often do, guilt, shame, and strained relationships can follow, even for lies meant to spare feelings. All in all, even those harmless little fibs quietly rack up a psychological tab. Religious and cultural perspectives. Religious and cultural takes on lying range from absolutely not to well, it depends. Christianity, following Augustine, Aquinas, and Kant, basically treats every lie like a cosmic foul. Even the tiny your haircut looks great kind. Buddhism also puts false speech on its no-no list, but leaves a little wiggle room depending on the situation, because let's face it, life gets messy. Islam, especially in Shiite traditions, introduces taqiyya, where lying under duress is permitted, proving that even strict moral codes sometimes recognize that telling the truth while being threatened is not always the wisest move. Meanwhile, cultures take their own creative spin. Research shows Chinese parents might drop more little fibs than American ones to keep their kids in line, but let's be honest, both sides excel at "because I said so" lies for emotional management. Apparently, when it comes to lying, everyone has their own terms and conditions. Lie in the digital age. Welcome to the digital age, where even our robots can lie sometimes better than we do. AI systems have developed their own brand of fibbing: hallucinatory lies, manipulative lies when they are programmed to deceive, and directed lies when someone tells them to bend the truth for a goal. This naturally sparks some big ethical head-scratchers. Should AI stick to only rock-solid facts? And how much responsibility falls on the humans behind the scenes? After all, it's one thing when your friend tells a whopper, it's another when your smart speaker starts gaslighting you. Guidelines to navigate ethical lying. When it comes to ethical lying, it's less about rigid rules and more like navigating a moral obstacle course. First, intention matters. If you are lying to help someone rather than just covering your own butt, you are already on slightly safer ground. But consequences count too. Weigh the big picture, not just whether the lie gets you out of trouble right now. Ask yourself, is honesty possible? Sometimes when the full truth would cause serious harm and no better option exists, a small, carefully chosen lie might be the kinder path. Still, whenever you can, prefer transparency. Is simple. I'm trying to spare your feelings can go a long way without fully stepping into deception. Don't forget cultural and relational sensitivity. In some places, sugarcoating is expected. In others, blunt truth is seen as respect. Finally, always protect autonomy. Avoid the "I know what's best for you" lies that strip people of their right to make informed choices. Because no one likes being lied to and micromanaged. Real-world examples. In real life, ethical lying pops up more often than we would like to admit. Take a dying parent. An oncologist might soften bad news to keep hope alive, walking the fine line between compassion and respecting the patient's right to know. In marriage and relationships, couples may tell little white lies. "Of course I love your cooking," to protect feelings, but too much deception eventually chips away at trust and intimacy. Then there are life or death scenarios, where throughout history, people have risked much to lie or equivocate in order to save others from persecution or danger, the kind of lying most philosophers would probably give a standing ovation. And of course, there's your daily morning routine, where telling your friend that her dress looks amazing may do more to brighten her day than your brutal honesty ever could. Sometimes lying is less about facts and more about kindness, context, and choosing your battles. And there you have it. The truth about lying is not as black and white as it seems. If you found this video helpful, insightful, make sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay curious, stay thoughtful, and I'll see you in the next one.